I hope you've had a chance to go to this Social Security Administration webpage and see this zip file of baby names since 1910 and downloaded it. It takes a few seconds for it to download. It's pretty hefty. You'll see a folder in your downloads folder called Names by State. Every child's first name since 1910, if that name has been used at least 5 times that year, is in this database. It is huge, and it goes by state. So we'll keep that in mind a little bit later. I'm going to pull up the assignment page, and I'll start with Excel. We'll be using 3 programs today: Excel, and I think there are some things that Google Sheets does even better than Excel, so we'll move to Google Sheets in a moment. And then finally, we're going to end with Preview on a Mac. Those of you who have a PC, you might find a way to do it otherwise, but we're going to stay in the Mac world today. This is an assignment that a professor at the University of Tennessee does, a communication professor, using data to tell stories. He found this database, and as an example, he showed one that he had done. Interested to see the trend recently of babies in Tennessee who are named after their counties. For example, boys named Knox, or girls named Knox, or Nash. And he did a little database or a little infographic from the database based on those numbers. We're going to try one as well. On the 3rd page of this sheet, you'll see a simplified version. I'm going to do one starring Peyton Manning, and I want to ask you to be brainstorming of a certain story that you and your teammates can tell based on another name. Since you have downloaded that file, it is time for us to play with it a little bit. So let's go to the 2nd page of this document, and I've opened a new workbook over here in Excel. I need to import that file, so I'm going to go to File, Import. This is going to be a text file, so I'm going to click Text. And by the way, this is a good time for me to note that feel free to pause this video and rewind a little bit whenever you need to, but for the sake of the time of this video, I'm going to keep on talking. I'm going to let this choose Text and click Import. It's going to ask where it is. I'm going to go to the Downloads. I'm going to go to that folder, and I'm going to choose the state of Tennessee. I typed a T to get to the T's quickly, and I'm going to tell Excel to get that Tennessee data. It's going to ask a couple of things here. This is a delimited file, so I'm going to choose Next. And if you'll notice, this is a preview of how my data is going to look. These columns or these data sets are separated by commas. So let's check comma here, and then Next. All that looks good, so let's click Finish. And that's where I want it to start placing the data at the very start, so that's okay. It's going to take a few seconds because this is a very hefty file, all baby names from Tennessee from 1910. There are 130,000 lines here. We wanted to show Excel because Excel lets us do a lot of Excel does a lot of heavy lifting for us. Now it's our chance to say, let's let it do that work for us. So we're going to let Excel do some filtering for us. Let's click inside any cell. And by the way, here we can see some girl names in Tennessee in 1910, Mary and Ruby and Annie. Doesn't have the middle names. These are just the first names. Let's click in any cell. And then up here, under Data, we want to tell Excel to filter the data. And that just gives a little pull-down menu of all of these columns. We want to, first of all, filter by name. Column D is the name folder. So let's pull down this arrow under D. And I'm just going to type the word Peyton. My hypothesis is that after Peyton Manning came to the University of Tennessee, that there were a lot of babies started to be named Peyton. We could do it boys or girls. I'm going to choose boys today. And so in this little search box here, I'm just going to start typing Peyton. Whatever name you choose, this is a good time to notice that, if you choose Leo, you spell it right. If you choose Leo, it's going to pull in a lot of different names that have the letters E and L and O in them. So just be careful that you're not selecting too many names. Peyton shouldn't be that hard. So I'm going to go to Peyton. And that's what I want to do. And that will, as you can see, that has selected by or filtered by Peyton. I'm going to look at males only. So I'm going to go to this pull down arrow under column B, and I want to select just the males, so unselect the F. And now look at my data set now. I've gone from over 100,000 lines to, I don't know, 20 or 30 or so lines. So that's a lot more feasible, a lot more than we can manage. Looks like I still have that line of Mary up there. That's okay. In a moment, I'm going to go to Google Sheets. Why don't we go ahead and copy and paste the data that we need right here. So if you will, let's choose, and notice 1983 was the first year that Peyton, the name Peyton for boys, had at least 5. The name that you have chosen might start a lot earlier than that, but for me, Peyton started at year 1983. What I'm doing now is selecting only the year and the name Peyton and the number of boys named Peyton that year. I'm not going to choose this column up here named Mary. It's just getting in the way. So if you need to unselect something, feel free to. I've selected these lines right here. I'm going to go to Copy. You can go to Command C or Edit, Copy. Now it's time for me to go into my Google spreadsheet. I have started a spreadsheet, so if you haven't done so already, open a Google Sheet, and I'm just going to paste that data from Excel into Google Sheets. It'll take a few moments because it's a little bit of data there. I don't need the word Peyton anymore. All I really need is the year and the number of Peytons that year. So let's select the word, or let's select column B that says Peyton, or whatever your column is. Let's go to Edit, and let's just say delete that column. All right, now I've got, let's see how many columns I have, or how many lines I have. I have 30 lines of 2 columns, and now the fun part begins. Now I can just say I want to make a chart out of this. This might be a good time to note that a beauty of Google Sheets is that you can share it with your teammates. So if you haven't done so already, you might want to go ahead and share this. I have selected the data that I want, and now that I can tell that it's blue and selected, I can go into Insert, Chart. And it very quickly gives me a line graph, which is exactly what I want. The data over here, and by the way, if you haven't, if you need to, click on these three little dots up here, and that will pull down the chart editor. It might show up, it might not. Again, that's pull down your 3 dots, edit chart, and now you can deal with the data and customize the chart. We don't really have to do anything with the data portion. It very nicely is using column A as the labels. That looks nice. And so let's spend most of our time over here with Customize. The first pull down is Chart Style. I don't think we really need a background color, but you might want to play around with it. I might want to see how a smooth line would be. And I think I'll go with a smooth line, otherwise I'll keep those others as they are. The next pull down is the chart and axis titles. I'm going to go back to Word for a moment and pull up my graph. I'm going to remember that my headline says popularity of Peyton, and it's a little bit hard to read, but my y-axis says number of baby boys named Peyton born in Tennessee, and the years down here will suffice for my horizontal axis. Under chart and axis titles then, it's asking for the chart title, and I'm just going to say popularity of, in quotes, Peyton. I think I made mine 44 points. And you can make any color that you want. I chose orange. That's got my chart title. We do need to put something for our vertical axis, our y-axis. So let's choose our vertical axis, and let's type number of baby boys named Peyton born in Tennessee. And I might need at this point to make my graph a little bit larger, so you can pull it horizontally, you can pull it vertically, or at the corner you can make both bigger. I would like to make my vertical axis maybe 15 points and make it bold. That looks pretty good. And these other things you can you can change, like the series. If you want your line to be maybe orange, you can do so. Let's click on data labels. That will bring the numbers into sight. I'm going to pull my chart horizontally a little bit more since it's a little bit crowded there, so feel free to adjust yours as well. You can change the thickness of the line if you wanted to. You can keep exploring a few of those things, but that's a pretty good looking chart. I don't think I've made my title bold, so let me go back up here to chart title and make my headline bold. That'll make it stick out a little bit more. And now I'm just ready to save it. So if you have your chart as you would like it, pull down or click on these three little dots and say save image. It'll save it as a PNG file in your downloads. And my Mac will pull it up very nicely for us, and we really just have one more thing to do, and that's add our text. I've got my actual one right here, so I can kind of show you what I've written, what I'll be doing. Let me close that one. And now we just need to add the text. Now, whatever name that you choose, your line graph obviously will look different from mine, but this one worked out pretty nice because I've got some blank space right here and some blank space right here. Let's go up here to our toolbox, and we need to add a text box. So I'm going to go over here to the letter T, and earlier I had done my writing in Word. That might be a good thing for you. It will do your spell checking for you. And so I'm just going to paste. Well, that was the data that I had pasted earlier. Let's try this again. I had written my copy in Word, and now I'm just going to copy and paste it here into Preview. Now I can move this text box with my little hand, and I can choose to put this text up here. That's not too bad. Or I can choose to maybe put it down here. I think it might fit a little bit better down here. I believe I have made my text 14 points, so you can change the size of your points down here. And you can give it a border, maybe a 1-point border, and give it a background of white. And now you can save your infographic file save, and that's got it.